Grandest, my great people. I don't know who's up or who's busy or who is ready for some information, but I'm about to get to it. I'm going to play a short video. Actually, just the sound because you guys know what happens when I start to share, and I want to make sure you hear this. It's going to lead into what I'm talking about today. So let's get to it. Not too long ago, I posted a video where I was sharing some information about the Israelites here in the America. And I'm sure some of you probably have the question, if there are so-called Native Americans who look like us, who've always been here, well, then who are those dark-skinned people who look like Asians with that straight hair? Of course, archaeologists and anthropologists and geologists have already answered that question. It's just that most people don't know that there's an explanation for those people's presence here in the Americas. Those people came across the Bering Strait and they invaded, basically, from Europe and Eurasia. Mongolians is who they are. And I can show you some pictures of dark-skinned Mongolians because most times nowadays, because of the way the media is controlled and used to disseminate lies and misinformation and disinformation, the vast majority would probably think of Mongolians as white-skinned Asians. But there are dark-skinned Asians still who live in Mongolia. As a matter of fact, the original so-called Japanese people, the sons of Yavon, they were dark-skinned at one time. And I'll show you some of those pictures as well. See, the problem is we've all been lied to by those who seek to control everything that belongs to us. But there's a video clip I would like to share with you first. And it's a video clip of an interview of a white senator down in Alabama. Now, I don't know if he's still the senator. I haven't checked. But when this interview was conducted, he was the senator of Alabama. Now, the white senator in question got himself into a lot of trouble with other white people because he had the audacity and the gall to let it come out of his face that we so-called Black people here in the Americas, North America in particular, are the Aborigine people. Yes, that's what he said. Yes, he did. See, this is the funny thing. I heard it. I watched it. When he was questioned about why he would say such a thing, yes, whites wanted to know why he would say such a thing. They were mortified. He said he couldn't explain it. He didn't know where the words came from. And the white who was conducting the interview scoffed and said, well, it came from your subconscious. It reminds me of the scripture in our forefathers' writings where it's written that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So he spoke from his heart. He was not able to keep that in. Because white people are known for telling lies. Their entire existence on this planet is a lie. It's founded on lies. Where they come from, it's founded on lies. They don't tell you the truth. But I'll let you see this video clip, and then we'll talk about those straight-haired, dark-skinned people who you see pictures of often on the internet, in books, and everywhere else. And they tell you those people are the Native Americans, but they aren't. Well, let's watch this short interview with the senator, and let's see how he tries to explain away his embarrassment at having admitted that we see Aboriginal natives of these Americas.
When I was reading to prepare for this interview, I was quite surprised to see you use the word Aborigines talking about African Americans.
You know, I've dealt with that issue. I've already, talked publicly about that.
And my purpose here today is to say that I'm very sorry, and I apologize to anyone whose feelings were hurt by my comment.
I've made very, very clear I don't know where that comment comes from.
Well, from your subconscious.
Well, I guess. I mean, it's not even a normal thing anyone would say, even if you meant something in a negative fashion. I don't know if you would pull that out. But for me personally, you can't just close down camp and stop trying to do the things that you think are right. Just because somebody, you may give them an unfortunate bit of ammunition, you still got to continue to fight on and do what's best for the state in the long run. And frankly, it's going to give me the opportunity to, talk about things that I may never been able to talk about before.
You mean the bill?
Well, the bill, or talk about, race relations issues, things like that. I mean, I have a freedom that a lot of people don't have because of that.
Because you used the word Aborigine.
because I've been through the fire, and I can talk to people, I can relate to people, I can let them know what kind of person I am, and we can talk about things that sometimes have been, a little bit taboo.
So because it allowed you to
A little bit taboo.
audiences you might not otherwise have reached, do you not regret saying it?
I think it gives me some opportunities. I
You
went
bet
and
not
spoke to a
regret it.
group in the city of Birmingham. It was a city councilwoman's community meeting, probably 95% African American. And because of, things that I regret, offhand remark I should not have made.
Using the word Aborigine,
Right, offhand remark I should not have made.
which you don't want to say.
You regret
No, but-
making that.
100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land,
In his land, his own land.
In the heart of the Brazilian wilderness lies a prehistoric rock shelter, decorated with thousands of strange paintings. South American archaeologists are finding unusual human remains. The skulls aren't European, but they aren't American Indian either. They belong to none of the prehistoric races known to have set foot in the New World. These are as old as the Ice Age.
I don't know how much of that's true.
First people to discover the Americas. And what became of them? Did they all disappear? Or did some of them
Get killed.
Most of the people who live in northeastern Brazil today are descended from European settlers and African slaves. During the Ice Age, 12,000 years ago, there was a land bridge between Siberia and Alaska. Mongoloid peoples were the first to enter the New World, or so experts thought. The Brazilian finds point to a very different story of the discovery of the Americas. The paintings on these rock shelters are much older than the Indians. Here, hunters chased giant armadillos, an animal that flourished during the Ice Age, long before the arrival of the Indians. There's a playful feel to many of the scenes. Here, a group of men are standing on each other's shoulders, just like a circus act. And here, a rare romantic moment.
Oh, I'm sorry y'all can't see this. I'm gonna post a video in the chat so that you guys will be able to look at this yourselves.
The scenes conjure up a lost world of innocence. How long ago was this primeval paradise?
Look like stick paintings.
French archaeologists have just finished digging in Pedra Furada, the largest of the rock shelters. Their aim was to go back in time to a period well before the arrival of American Indians. Every foot they dug took them thousands of years back into prehistory. When they reached layers 40,000 years old, they found these. Pieces of quartzite that look remarkably like stone tools. The edges on one side of the stones were flaked off. Were these stones shaped into cutting tools by human hands? If so, then the history of the discovery of the Americas would have to be rewritten. If people had been here before the American Indians, surely there would be other traces of their presence. The archaeologists continued to dig, down to depths 50,000 years old. And then they found this. Fragments of animal bone and charcoal. For Anne-Marie Passy, one of the archaeologists involved in the dig, these fragments were proof of human occupation.
On trouvait des structures de feu.
We found structures shaped like hearths.
À côté du charbon,
Next to
parfois,
the
ça dépend
charcoal,
des périodes,
depending on the
on retrouvait
period,
des
we
restes
sometimes found food leftovers of animals they may have eaten.
d'animaux qui ont pu être consommés.
Americans are emerging in rock shelters in the north of Luthia to be a Mongoloid, an ancestor of the American Indians.
9-1.
But then he fed the measurements into the computer.
When we start running the computer and seeing the results, it was amazing because we realized that the statistics, the quantitative analysis we were doing was not showing these people to be Mongoloid. In fact, the analysis was showing these people as anything except Mongoloid.
So who was Luthia? And where did she come from? To find out, the skull was taken to a hospital in Rio de Janeiro to begin the process of reconstructing her face.
This is the bone that the guy Top Cats be saying AP is lying about.
The cast was then given to Richard Neve of the University of Manchester in England, one of the world's leading forensic artists, to recreate her features.
That to me is a Negroid face that has all the features you associate with a Negroid face.
What's a Negroid?
The proportions of the face, it doesn't say anything about it being Mongoloid.
Luthia belongs to a race found historically along the rim of the Indian Ocean.
Oh no, y'all, I don't even know what happened. Let's just
In East Africa, in the islands of South Asia, and in Australia and Melanesia. Was this then the face of a first American? Her reconstruction is confirmed by measurements Walter Nevis has taken of all his skulls.
The first reaction was not to believe in it. But as the results, repeated so many times, and the result is exactly the same thing. They are very similar to Aborigines and Africans, and no similarity at all with Mongoloids in Asia or with American Indians.
So, what do you guys think about that? I know everybody else is sitting in the hut so they can take notes on what I'm talking about while they laying low. That should be funny. I see 2 people in the chat. It's damn near 20 people watching. Y'all so funny. Y'all ridiculous. Let me just focus on what I was about to do, though. That's cool. Disconnect that. So I can get to the business. So basically, guys, you know what we've been talking about for the last few days. If you don't, that's you're just, somebody that looks in here and there. Yes, yes, yes. Exactly. Say that part. Actually looking for something to show some of that now, brother, because it's so crazy how they work so hard to just change our entire history. Everything reconstructed story, right? As I keep telling you guys, we're in a book. They construct the religion. I'm gonna soon do a Bible breakdown for you guys. You guys need a good lesson. Y'all need a good lesson, and I'm gonna break some stuff down for y'all to put y'all in y'all right mind because this is getting ridiculous now. I just don't get it. Um, you have to really understand what is going on right now in the times of trying to take your mind and disseminate it from all the facts, the truth, so on and so forth. Let's see. I want to get to an album I'm going to share with you. We may start to experience some technical difficulties. Oh my gosh, but do you think I care? No, we're going to just do it anyway and see what happens. I'll share as much as I can, read as much as I can that you guys will be able to hear and kind of read between the lines up. And let's just see how it goes. If we're able to get anything, to go in a good way. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try. All right, let's get it. Now, let's start here. We're not going to do anything with the Bible today or the breakdown of that. Y'all not ready for that right now. I got to really get y'all a good lesson in order to get your mind to understand what you think the perception of the Bible is trying to show you versus what you have been taught in a religious aspect in these churches and so on and so forth. So we're going to read a few things, go through a few pictures. I'm going to have a quick discussion. You guys know I don't want to be too long. Hopefully we'll be in and out. I'm going to start with among the most marvelous, most frightening, and certainly the most unbelievable possibilities suggested by a psychic folklore is that human beings may be able to exert an observable influence upon the physical world. Taking that into an understanding or a comprehensive perspective, if you don't get what it's saying, it is saying exactly what I tell you guys all the time. The folklore is that human beings may not be able to exert any type of influence on this particular physical world, the physicality that is totally opposite. Because we discussed this many times. What do? We manifest. We manifest things into our reality. We manifest things into what we want it to be by permitting the atoms that we permit into the atmosphere to start to build building blocks. And in those building blocks, there are foundations that are created in making what you want to come into the purveyance of your true ideology, everything that you're imagining. our imagination is everything that is powerful enough to make your reality or make the foundation of what you want it to be, so on and so forth. If you're doing that, what will happen is you'll be able to step into that thing because you're already making the action, sending it forward, sending that energy into effect. So the molecules have no choice but to follow your lead, right? When you're doing things, you are actually following into the power or the energy that you want to feed into. It's like a wheel. As that wheel is rolling, this is the stumbling blocks that will be built on that foundation that you throw out because it'll continue to self-build and self-replicate itself, therefore making or forming whatever foundation you want, whether it be positive or you have feed into something that is negative and building something even more disgusting into yourself, right? So when it comes to that, simply through the power, this is very important. We talk about this all the time. Connect the words and open, breaking down portals of the inanimate objects that come into your mind and your body to manipulate your mental stability, to manipulate your spirit standing, so on and so forth, right? So, through the power of the conscious intention or the unconscious intention, or by some accounts, through the assistance of a spiritual intelligence, or as a result of a mysterious principle known as synchronicity. I always tell you guys, synchronicity plays a large part in building the positive or the prospective of those particular materialization of things you want, bringing the power of thought and the feeling, the action, putting those two together, synchronizing the thought and the action, the imagination that it is, and then putting it into those things will bring the manifestation to you. So it is the assistance of spiritual intelligence, or as a result of a mysterious principle known as synchronizing that. So keep that in mind. Now, some scholars, such as Stephen Broad, professor of the philosophy, at the University of Maryland, take such reports very seriously, claiming that no honest person can examine the case study reports and easily dismiss the fact that the philosophy proving that the synchronicity of these things are the forbearance of bringing things into manifestation. Great day. What's going on? A couple more of our family in here this morning. Peace, 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 bro. Peace, peace, and greatness to you. Grand risings, Reginald. Grand risings. Yes, yes. Grandest, grandest. The ancient Greeks, Free Papa says the ancient Greeks named the ocean after Atlas. Uh, yeah, a character in Greek mythology. I got a book here on that. We are being incorporated into these fake historical platforms, which they continue to build. The DC Comics. Let me see. Where's my Greek book? I have a book, The Lost Kingdom of Maya. That's a good book. I might share that with you guys sometime. You said that. Yep, the Atlas. This is funny. Yeah, and it shows all these different stories, all these Athens, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff in here, some of the pages in here, in a short while, guys. Since he brought that up, okay, maybe it was a reason. I actually have a thumbnail in this book for something. Maybe that's a reference to that. Waiting on you to bring that to the light. So let's see. We'll get to that in a minute. So when we're thinking about these things, right? We have to remember our conscious is a very powerful, powerful tool. It is so complicated. It is from ego. Spirit is very simple. It is from ego. If it is complicated, keeping that in mind, anything that comes into effect that isn't smooth and going with the proper frequency of just a general organic flow, and it's complicated, usually that's coming from the ego. It's too much thought going into it, too much of another energy that's coming to influence your thought, right? Brain mapping information onto your mind to make you confused and argue with yourself about what you know is true. Oh, should I do this? No, yes. There shouldn't be any of that. You're going to know, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this, period. We're going to talk a little bit about the moon real quick. I just wanted to throw this in here. When the moon is in the seventh house, the Jupiter aligns with Mars, right? And peace will guide our planet. This is what they say. The love will still steer the stars. I feel that it actually brings in negative energies. I know that the moon, a lot of people say, oh, meditate with the moon, or put your crystals and things out there so you can get that moon energy. No, no, no. We're not going to get into that today. That's a whole nother subject, but we definitely don't want to be trying to get all this moon energy. This related with the year of 1982 to be at that time the opening of the conspiracy of the age of Aquarius. As you know, the age of Aquarius. They was all man, it was a big thing. They was making movies about all this Aquarius stuff. Every time you hear them, they talking about stuff. If y'all can recall. So just before the implementation, right, of the New World Order, as they were saying, the implementation of the New World Order in 1982. Come on, y'all know this shit been going on for hundreds of years. This is crazy. They slow if they really think that's when it happened. So it's supposed to start at that time in 1983, and it says that I have to say that the Blue Beam Project was set up for the year of 18 of I'm sorry for the year of 19. I'm sorry, I'm doing three things while I'm reading this to y'all. Let me focus. Okay. And I have to say that the Blue Beam Project was set up for the year of 1983. It has been delayed at the time. We don't know exactly why, but since 1983, this makes 11 years. They've really improved themselves with technology and through space. The black mirror, you guys know, I've talked a lot about the black mirror that's in the sky. I talk a lot about the terraforming. We know that the nanoparticles actually come from these, the particles being in the sky. They come down. They're used to formulate. They can actually transform or terraform the sky into certain pictures, pixelations. I've showed you guys, if you look back on some of my pages, you'll see I've showed you the pixelated skies on some of them. I mean, this should be crazy out here. Y'all got to be watching the sky with technology and through space, and enable them the right now to make their space show possible. Exactly, space show, the show of space, where they have influence and fluctuated the nanoparticles that actually terraform, just like they terraform in your body. I talk about this all the time. The nanoparticles that are in your body, if you're not cleansing yourself of these things, they consistently duplicate. They are a GMO production of the atomic structure. Your atomic structure was the proton, neutron, and electrons moving in a perfect sequence, and the frequency of positive and negative ions that make everything run in the way that it should in an organic body, right? That that matter is interrupted and protruded with the nanoparticles. So nanoparticles actually misplace or misintrude on the atomic structure. So now some of those cells where the proton and the neutron and the electron are flowing correctly, the nanoparticle may take over the proton and the neutron. So now it's moving in to take the form of that proton and neutron, and the electron is flowing with the nanoparticle because it's been misplaced with the GMO particle, and now therefore transhumaning that particular cell in the body into a nanoparticle AI state. I mean, it can't get any clearer than that. I don't know if you guys have seen nanoparticles. Shout out to the Matriarchs. They always putting out some fire information. Last night, they literally just showed a video about it. I've been talking about this forever, and people really don't think it's that serious, but you got to really understand. This is literally taking you from a human state. People think, oh, I'm not getting the jab. I'm not getting the jab. It ain't going to change me. And da. They can't patent you because they don't know what's inside you, but these things can still affect you. The same nanoparticles that they're talking about are in the jab. They're the same particles that are in the air, this, and that, blah, blah, blah. So you got to make sure you're cleaning yourself and handling your business the right way at all times, right? It's just important to know that. Um, let's get back to this. Where was I at? So, the world 7 rate classifications for all men and women, the new paradise, they say, where everybody will have a predetermined world that will fill out whether they agree or not, that they will be a part of that world. The World Concentration Camp headquarters at the United Nations for those who will not accept the New World Order, and then the agriculture and the food supply control, which will control the food and the vitamin supplies all around the world. That's why I always say you guys need to stock up. Make sure you're stocking up on seeds, organic products. You're stocking up on herbs. You want to dry your herbs out. If you don't have a air dryer, Oh, I went back. Sorry. If you don't have an air dryer, what you can do is on a baking sheet, set your oven at about 150, 175 degrees. Put a wax paper down on a baking sheet. You take your herbs, you lay them down gently on your sheet, and you put them in there, and you just let them dehydrate. It takes a little while when you're doing it that way, but you can do a lot of herbs. Then what you'll do is you'll get the little package. I'm going to do it live. I said showing a lot of these things to be ready and prepared for, handling yourself. But there's little packets that you put in all your dry goods. You can use these and put it in the packet. There's little sealers. You can get one for like $30 at a Walmart or something, and it actually pulls all the air out, and it I can't think of the word right now, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It pulls all the air out, and it's no air in the packaging, and it seals it for you. It's very cheap. Some places you can find them like $20. I remember I did a gift basket giveaway. I had one I put in the basket, and it was I think it was like $19 or something. So when it comes to these things, you can get things that are helpful for you that you'll need to have to help you get things prepared. Also, there's nothing wrong with being prepared. Not to say that we have to be scared or anything like that. I mean, these things are helpful and handy anyway. A lot of our stuff has been replaced. We may need to be able to replenish and rejuvenate the earth with natural, organic things in a time when we've gotten rid of these parasites and these disgusting people. And we'll need to have some things preserved for the future, so that our ancestors, our preceding from us, will be the ancestors at that time. They'll have things that we preserve for them that they'll have naturally. Right? We need to be preparing things for them. If you're not thinking about it for yourself, at least be thinking about, the ones that are going to come after you. Oh, great day. Great day. Let me check in on my chat. I be forgetting sometimes when I'm running my mouth. Greatness to you. Greatness to you. Always. You already know. All of y'all know. Nothing but love. Okay. So when it comes to that, and everything that we need to establish. I'm not going to read the rest of that. Okay, so let's look at this. I'm going to read something to you guys. It says that God is consciousness. God is consciousness. It's not a person, a he, a she, or any of that. God is consciousness, not a creator. God is the source. God is the only source, the source of consciousness, relating you back or tying you into the word, the truth, and the light. God is consciousness, not a creator. God is the source of creation itself. The source of creation. God is not a he or she. God is the source of creation. It. God is not a he or she. It is a it. It is a thing. It is everything. It. Let's talk about it. That is the title of my show. It is everything. Let's talk about everything that is pertaining to the natural source of creation in itself, right? Do we get the understanding of that? So it is not independent of you. It's not independent of you. It's not alone or set apart from you. It is the totality of everything that you see, smell, hear, taste, anything that is, has been, will be, is it. It is all the same thing. So when I call myself a God or another person a God, people sometimes, because of their religious standpoint and their understanding, they see themselves as less than a God. So they think of you as having an ego and not understanding what the God in a person is. The God is consciousness. If you have consciousness, if you have light, if you have eternal light, internal light, a guiding light, a guiding force, a guiding spirit, being connected to that source, that God is inside of you and you are a part of it. It is the same thing as you. It is the same thing as anything else. I am talking about myself when I say the God in me sees the God in you. There's a song when I was a little girl. They used to say, it used to go something like that. I may be misquoting some of the words, but it said, the God in me sees the God in you, or something of the sort. I don't know if anybody remembers that. But the God in me sees the God in you. Even the thing, this is why I'm going to do this Bible study. People are so caught up in, the Jesus did this. I'm like, you're not reading this and seeing that this talking about you. It's all about you. I keep telling you guys, the Christos, the Christos, the Christos, the plasma, everything that is light inside of your body, the living soul that is your consciousness. Your consciousness is God. If there was no God in you, no light that was keeping you afloat, you would not be living. You have to be a part of light. Light has to be a part of you. I am the word, the truth, the light, the walking word. My mom delivered the word, the light that came into existence from the dot, the Big Bang theory, the Bang theory that they tried to make up in a presence of a physical sense. There's no Big Bang. The Big Bang is my mother and my father, right? My mother and father connected, and my dad electrified and helped to stimulate and fertilize that egg. Just like when you plant something, when you grow, he implanted a seed in my mother's belly. And me, being the plant that I am, I grew from that seed, that dot that was formulated from the egg. It fertilized the egg. It enhanced it. It made it grow just like a plant does. You know how a plant grows? It's like, girl, you better put that plant in some sun. If you don't put it in no sun, it's going to die. That's exactly what will happen. So in order to have that plant grow, the plant had to grow with some sunlight, right? So if you have a seed and you plant a seed, it's not getting any sunlight. It's just gonna sit there. It's not getting anything to fortify it. You can water it all damn day long. You know, the water will help it grow, but it's not gonna have any energy, right? So when it's implanted and then once it grows, that sperm hits it, right? That is the sunlight, right? You know, a couple of weeks ago, I went over the sperm. We talked about the sperm, how the sperm holds memory, energy, information. It's like, I mean, literally, it's like memory. The sperm sac cell is a memory stick. It holds information, vital information. Without it, how would you have the paternal cellular structure from the father in order to make a person be enhanced with that particular gene or genome within them? The beginning of that person, the genome, the genesis. The genesis is the beginning of that life. When you hear that story in the Bible and it's talking about all the things in Genesis, it is the beginning of story of creation of life, right? The story of creation of life. It's not talking about religion. It's not talking about religion. It's talking about the creation of life. It is talking about the creation of anything that is interceding um, the start of something new. So the creation of light, that sunlight, the sun, the male. A woman can't give another woman a sperm. Another woman can't give any light to that seed. Could she implant the light to that seed? No, she can't give any light to that seed, any energy, any force to help it grow as it would in the soil of that ionic womb. That is the fertilization, right? That is the complete soil, the matter. It's the same color, right? That dark matter. You look at dirt, you dig it up, you get some deep, that type of soil. It's like, ooh, there's some good old soil. That deep, dark soil. Yeah, that's the soil that the organic woman holds in her womb. The same matter that is in the earth. So that egg is planted in that soil, and then that seed, the sun, lights it with that energetic sun, the seed of light that comes into the womb and sparks that particular seed of energy into being, right? So once we do that, the life starts to grow. You know, you feed it, you nourish it. There's these ionic waters that it's bringing in all these vibrations. You know, you eat properly, you take care of yourself, you're doing exercises. You're listening to common things. You're reading to your baby. You're talking to your belly, and you know you're letting your baby listen to things that are good and edifying to it. The water absorbs all this, you know, all these different sounds and frequencies and, you know, nice melodies. You're going to have a great baby. Believe that. Trust me. I'm not just saying this. if you do that, when you have this child, listen, you talking about not having a problem with this kid. You talking about you don't got to worry about the school calling you. You don't got to worry about stop, sit down. This kid beginning on my nerves. They so damn already. This, and that, blah, blah, blah. It'll happen. Just by the nature that you grew it with. Oh man. Oh, all my people in the chat I ain't see this morning. Hold on, let me go back. Free Popeye, yes, bro. You been in here from the get. Sean Israel been in here. Willie Lily, what's up, bro? Peace, peace. Grandest to you. Grandest. My brother in here, what's up, bro? Peace, peace. Wholeness, fam. Wholeness to you. Wholeness. Red Squid, the other bro in the crib. What's up, bro? You came by. He knocking on the door. Salute, bro. Other brother, hey, y'all, what's up? It's party time. Let me open the door for the brothers. What's up? All right. Let's get back to it, y'all. So, let me finish this because this is very important. I love this in a way of giving a complete explanation of how I feel. Um, I would share this on Facebook years ago. People would be looking like, "What are you talking about?" A couple of people say, "Oh, I feel you, sis. I know where you're coming from with this." But yeah, people were just getting woke, maybe about 8, 9 years ago, when it came to certain things with the conscious, so on and so forth. They were so busy worried about Kemet and this and that, which nothing wrong with that, but that's neither here nor there. So I am talking about the expression of the God self. Let's talk about the expression of the God self that actually rests inside of me. The God self rests inside of me. It's all in me. It's me. I have no choice in the matter when it comes to blaming someone else for my actions, for my reactions, for the things that I do, the way that I take something in, the way I perceive things, so on and so forth, right? Because when it comes to that, the God rests inside of me. I can't allow these things to protrude and come inside. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm letting some in that shouldn't be here. You done came in the door, you knocking on the door, and I ain't asked you to bring your ass through. That's that vampire, the succubi. You know how they make those vampire movies back in the past, and they'll say, the vampire can't come in unless you invite him in. Don't let him in. The little kid will know that he's a vampire. He'll come bringing the mom some. He'd be a handsome vampire knocking on the door. The kid looking like, oh no, mom, don't let him in. Don't let him in. She let him in. The little boy looking like, oh, it's over. That's that succubi, that parasite. When it comes knocking at the door, you have to know not to let it in. You have to be strong and say, "Hold on, I got that God in here. I can't let you come in here and intercede with what's holy and everything right up around here." You hear me? We all fall victim though. We all get weak. We make mistakes. We do things we shouldn't do, include myself. I know a lot of things. I don't know it all, but I know a lot of things. I'll say that. And I can say that because why? I put the time in. I've done the study. I've done the work. I've been doing it forever. I give more of myself to other people than I ever have to myself. I've never even taken the time to get away from my children for a weekend. Do you know my children have never been away from me other than the one that is still in New York? My children have never been away from me or from around me for more than like 2, 3 days, unless someone's on vacation. If they're on a vacation, or if I was on a vacation, me and maybe one or two of the other kids and the other one didn't go or something, same thing with my grandbabies. When my daughter moved up here and I got up here almost a month, man, we were going, all of us was going crazy. Me, my nephew, my nephew, my son kept talking about my nephew, my nieces, my baby, So yeah, I give more myself to others, but sometimes, that doesn't mean not gonna be weak, you know. Doesn't mean that, I don't uh, make mistakes, eat things I shouldn't eat, say things I shouldn't say, react when I shouldn't react. I mean, that's part of the human matter, the matter of state of mind that we're in and put in sometimes. Sometimes people are sent around not knowing, when I say sometimes unbeknownst to them, they're being used as pawns, right, in a manipulative pool to throw another person off their game, to make that person fall away from what should be put out, to keep the flow of information in a positive aspect, because now therefore it starts to look negative. this person's like, oh, let me stay away from them. I didn't know they were like, oh gosh, because they had a flaw, they had a mistake, they were slipped, a boulder on their shoulder, and then when they chose to throw it off and it hit somebody in the head, they're looking like the bad person. So you have to be careful and mindful of what you allow in your space, right? So you stay away from those things. You stay away from those people, those places, those type of situations that would put you in a bad light. Because why? You don't want to invite that into your world. You don't want to invite anything into your world. Grand day, brother. Grandest, 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 grandest. Yes, yes, yes. Grandest, you already know. So you don't want to invite these things into your world. So when you invite these particular things into your world, you start to have issues that you're not able to handle. There's a dysfunction, there's the negative and positive. You ever seen experiment? I know you guys remember science when you were a kid, and you're putting a positive and negative ion, there's like, they fighting against each other. You can do it with a magnet to get the point, the opposite effect of them, not putting them together the direct way, right? And what will happen is those ions are fighting. So you got the positive in yourself, and then there's this negative that comes in. Now there's a war. There's a war chaos. What do? You have to be able to know how to harness and manage that particular energy and use it in the right direction. Don't let it overpower you. I'm victim to that too, guys. Listen, don't tell nobody shit. I don't have to flip on the beer to here and there. You hear me? Don't y'all tell nobody. But yeah, we all slip here and there, but you can't let it be continuous. You can't let it affect you. You can't blame situations and say, oh, you know what? They did this and they did that. No, no, no. They probably did, but who gives a damn? Who are they? Do they matter? Do they have anything to do with what you're doing? Hold on. I had to catch myself. Sometimes, like, wait a minute, get your mind right. You letting somebody come in and affect your mind that has nothing to do with you, nor your life or anything. Why are you worried about what they're saying about you? Why are you worried about, oh, they grouping up, but no, they're making other people think. Well, listen, if they're making other people think certain things about you and it's not true, why do you give a damn? Okay, true, true, true. I had to reason with myself. Like, yeah, you're right, because if I did care, that would mean that there's some validity to what they're saying. So since there's no validity, should I really care? No, I don't care. And the ones that believe them, should I care about what they say? Oh, hell no, I shouldn't care about what they say. Because if they want to listen to these people that talk about nothing, that makes sense when it comes to my character, maybe they're the people that don't need to be around me as well. So I shouldn't care what they say. Makes sense to me. There you go. There you go. What's up? Got another brother in the house. What's up, Blue? Grandest, grandest, grandest. Oh, that's your mom, Blue, on that picture? That's your mom, Blue? Whoever it is, beautiful. Skin look flawless, shining, glowing. Okay. All right, sis. Willie said, what you say, Willie? So the Man King book have a PDF. Dang, no, bro. It's actually, let me see. Oh gosh, I got so many books around here, guys. I got like totes of books. I got boxes of books. I got books in my storage. Lord have mercy. I brought so many books. I ended up leaving. I left my bedroom set literally to bring 4 totes of books. Not my whole set, but I couldn't bring the dresser. So since I couldn't bring the dresser, I left the bed and stuff, and I just bought a new one when I got here. But yeah, let me show you, Willie. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab this one. Because this is not the one. Hold on a second. I'll be right with you guys. I just want to show the brother this real quick. All right. I got it, brother. Got it, brother. Let's see. Well, there's something you wanted me to look at in there, Willie. Let's see. I'll pull this up. Oh, it's beautiful. Let me show y'all this book. If you guys wanna, I'll start showing you guys some good books to get. This right here. This thing nice too. It got like, you got some good stuff in it. It's got, let me try to open it. Oh, no, that's the front page. Hold on. It's got maps. You can, I don't know where you guys can order it from. I had this book for a while. It's an older book. It's got, yeah, it shows a lot of the real land masses. See, these are pictures of the land over there. It's not a PDF, bro, but I could probably send some pictures or something if you want me to, through an email or something. If you're interested. And this the Greek book. This is a good one. It's called The Greek World. It's a cultured atlas of the world. Just so you guys can see the name. Wait a minute. It's so hard to show y'all what it is. So the cultural atlas of the world, and it says the Greek world. And this thing got some pics in it too. Look, it's got a lot of stuff in it. It shows a lot of artifacts. So we can look at them and examine. I've looked at a lot of them. Some of them I'm looking like, oh, this looked like they made this, or stuff like that. But yeah. All right. Okay, bro. Say that's I knew it was your mom, bro. Didn't I say that? I said that's your mom, bro. I knew it was your mommy. Oh, she's beautiful, bro. Beautiful. Yes, bro. And a lot of people migrated to Chicago, brother, from there. Yeah. He said when he put the Greek statues on those cacao mounds like he did those buildings. That's right. That's right. He said he knew better. Probably get struck down trying to climb up there to do some shit like that, right? That's my thought on it. Oh, yes. I love my information. I got a book of the Grand Canyon. Oh, man, I should show y'all my Grand Canyon book. I will one day. I'll show y'all. I want y'all to see some of the pictures in it, man. That thing got some pictures in it. Okay. So basically, let's try to get through these pics real quick. Y'all know, see how I get off topic just because my brother asked me about the Mayan pictures books. I mean, the Mayan book. Okay, the verb. Let's get to this. This is important, y'all. I don't want to get off topic. So let's finish this. I'll go back a little bit and we'll stop at this next point I want to make very relevant to you, right? I'm talking about the expression. The expression. I'm talking about the expression. When you think of expression, right? The expression of the God's self that rests inside of me. The expression of the God's self, it rests. Rest means it's laying there. It's just comfortable and it's just there. There's no, it's just resting on my soul, resting on my spirit, resting on my body, on my flesh. It is the verb. It is the energy, perfect energy that everybody in earshot right now. Perfect energy. The verb is the energy, not the noun. It is not the noun now. Pay attention. The verb is the energy. The verb is the energy, not the noun. Once you think that God is a noun, you hear this? Once you think God is a noun, this is why this is very important to me. It's very specific to the understanding of the inner ear. Once that you believe that God is a noun, which is a person, place, or a thing, a physical compound, a person, a place, or a thing is a physical compound. A person, a place, or a thing is a physical compound. So you have to separate yourself. You have to separate yourself from it and immediately become the limited being. The limited being is outside of the person, outside of the place, and outside of the thing, outside of oneself physically, outside of the state of being, that place, or the thing that you believe to be yourself, which is the physical matter that is not you. Right? You have to separate yourself from it, totally remove yourself from the physical. This is what we talked about the last, since Sunday? Since I did my show Sunday, right? What have I been talking to you guys about? The fallen God. We talked about the Tirthankara. When it comes to the fallen God, what was going on? They persecuted 100 million people because they were practicing this meditative belief. And all the meditation did was heal the body. Phenomenal, right? All the meditation did was heal the body, the mind, and the soul. It was taking people that were severely on the verge of death and about to die. And those people were being healed just from this meditative process. From a state of it being introduced to the nation from 1992 to 1998, in a span of 6 years, it grew to 100 million people doing it because it was healing the whole entire nation. The frequency of health, healing, mentally, spiritually, and physically. It taught concepts. It taught the same. This is what takes us into the Tirthankara, right? I'm gonna have to make more tea. This tea is actually, it's okay, but I didn't really want that. I should have made something else. But anyway, it takes us into it, right? Because the I'm sorry, because the Tirthankara, right? When it comes to that, it goes into the Jainism. The Jainism is what is the same thing that we're speaking about right now. The energy that rests inside of oneself, one's soul, the spirit, the energy, the ka, right? We talk about the ka, we talk about all these things, and it all leads back to the same thing. We're thinking about that, right? Even when it comes to that, let's talk about that very briefly. The Tirthankara, right? Even if we break it down in the etymology wise, Tirthankara is, right, the tur. Let's say the tur. The tur means to pray on something that is a dry land, the opposite of labor of see, to see or be blinded by, right? The than, Than. So that is Tir, tur, than, Than, than. Than introduces the second element. What that does is bring the second element into effect. So what that is, something that immediately follows. It immediately follows the second element. It becomes following that preceding the first, which is Tir, which is the opposite of the sea, which is dry land, taking away the dry land. Yesterday, Sister Kappa Ama talked about um, the Nebuchadnezzar and the effects of the physical clay and metal and these things not mixing with the body, and the aspects of what that was telling us about the transhumating state. And this is why I say you cannot throw the Bible away. That's our book that gives us information, and only if you're intelligent enough you'll be able to break it down. So when it comes to that, the kara is the friend or the beloved of. In Hebrew, it actually means to call something or to proclaim something or to read something. When it comes to the holy sacred, that particular individual thinking is the act of doing something. So it's bringing into effect something that is a changing, blinding effect. And a second element that would follow that thing would be the act of doing something. So the verb again, the energy, not the noun. Now, once you think that God is a noun, a person, place, or thing, as I said, this, you separate yourself from it because you believe that it's something different, set apart from yourself, right? Well, if you believe that God is not in you, if you believe that you are not a part of that same true source and you are not God or have the God in you, you will truly separate yourself from that thing, right? It's going to keep you from connecting with yourself, which is the true source. You will not be able to connect with your true self because you believe that the God is outside of yourself. You believe that God is a different state of being from you. And immediately you become a limited being. Once you believe that, you are separated and God is a person, place, or thing. God is a physical component, something that is set apart from you. I mean, that's when you are lost. That's the difference in what separates in the things that we believe, and that's all religious. When you're believing something, that's all religious. You're believing, you're having faith in something outside of yourself. That's a religious belief, a religious aspect. When it comes from the knowing, the state of knowing what this is, knowing the inner self, knowing the self, I see me. When I am that I am. I am the word. I am the truth. I am the light. The living word that came into forbearance. When my mother and father met and they created me, those two things came together and they formulated me into the being that I am, and I was formed, right? With the Bible, when you separate, right? When you separate, yourself from God. When you take God outside of you and make God it, it's not even God. I'm just using that word so you know what I'm talking about too. That's a whole nother issue. When you take the source or it outside of yourself, you are separating yourself from true energy. You are separating yourself from the light. You are dimming yourself. It's like creating a short in a light socket. You're dimming yourself of true light and energy because you're a part of that force and you are that force as well and connected to it, just as an umbilical cord. So the God that rests in you, that energy is a part of you. You are the current seed that came into life, into the perseverance, into this physical world. The same energy that you have always been and will continue to be. And if you leave this plane, you will still be. You will not die. You will continue to be that same energy. You will just go on to something else. So when it comes to that, we have to remember that we are the word, the truth, and the light. And what they do when they make you look at God outside of yourself, putting God in the aspect of a noun, not letting you know that God is true consciousness, God is true light and energy, the creator of all sources of the pure energy. You are separating yourself from the word. And what that does is when you take the word out of the life and you put it in a book, it throws the frequency off. Now you're focused on that book because here's another thing you're bringing into play. Now you're focused on the outside presence. You're now focused on this book that has to lead and guide you. And then when you're looking at it, you're not even reading it correctly. You have to have your understanding. You have to have your insightful ear. You have to have your third eye open in order to see the light because you won't be able to see the wording correctly, right? So what they have done is taken the word out of the life. Taking the word out of the life. The life is the frequency. They've taken the word out of the life and putting it in a book. They put it in a book. So now when you put it in a book, you're looking at it and it's on paper. It's transparent. They're manifesting the truth or the reality, what they want you to believe, that light and that spirit and that energy and that Christ to be. As long as you believe what that light, that energy and that Christ is in the physical aspect, you will not connect it to yourself because you're looking at it outside of yourself. Do you get that? Do you understand that? You're looking at it outside of yourself. You're reading into the matter aspect of this atmosphere, something into existence that is outside of yourself. Do y'all understand how that happens? The religion places it outside of you. The religion makes it so that you are not connected. The religion makes it so that you don't know that God is in you. You are the way, the truth, and the light born into your mom's ionic womb, that soil that brought forth that plant life, that light of energy that grew from the energy in a memory stick that the dad had implanted to help grow and fertilize that seed so that that seed grew into the being that you are, bringing something into perseverance, the action of something, which is the physical matter that transpired into this physical state of being, the way, the truth, and the light, right? So when they do that, when taking the word out of the life and then putting it into a book so that the frequency of life is now it's paused, it's stopped, right? The frequency of life, the thing that we know. When we spew, I tell you guys all the time, you have to spew the words out of your mouth. When we spew the words, the atoms, the energy that we're taking from the pit of our stomach. You know, when you're speaking, you can feel it in the pit of your stomach, right? So if you're feeling that, what do you think is going on? You're creating an atom that is actually moving around and you're pulling it up and you're voicing, pushing that out past your throat chakra. You're putting into forbearance. You're starting to build that structure or that whatever it is that you're speaking about into that particular thing. So when you're doing that, you got to be sure you're doing the right thing, right? So what they did was they took that frequency of energy and light, the energy and light. When the ancestors would talk about what was going on, when the ancestors would tell us about the source, when the ancestors told us to look inside of ourselves, when the ancestors showed us by way of action and the things that they did, like when they stopped the soldiers trying to come and intercede on their land and kill them and do things to them. They saw their ancestors when they would make the rain start coming down and rain out their gunpowder. They saw the ancestors when they had these people shooting the bullets at them, and some of them be standing there and the bullets falling off them. Like, what's going on? They didn't even know what was happening. If you guys listened to the live I did last night, I played you another story letting you know these things happen all the time. We have had continuous Christ people because we are all of the Christ. This is not blasphemy. This is truth, fact, and over fiction. I don't play games with y'all. This should be crazy. So they took the book and they replaced the book in the state of our frequency of life, the frequency of life that was removed and placed into the book. They took our frequency of life, our energy, our magnetic energy. They put it in the book to let people think outside of themselves. I'm going to focus on this book. I can't focus on me. I'm going to put all my energy forward in this book. As long as we're putting the energy in this book, they can transpire it into what they want it to be. Whatever we say and we believe that this book is and we think that it's going to be, we are putting that into our life and we are putting it into existence and we are manifesting that into what it is supposed to do, which is build and construct a lie of reconstructed religion and take me away from myself, take me away from the true source, take me away from all the energy of what is, so that I am stuck and stagnated. And I'm able to be written upon and used as a pawn. I'm used in a way to be manipulated as a AI character, because there are nanoparticles that transform and transpire me. There are religious aspects that change my mind and make me not focus on me so that I can gain the strength to overpower this information and know that it is lies. Know that I am playing a part in this story, in this book that is not actually fucking factual. And so right now, what I'm going to do is take some of my strength, my energy, myself, and I'm going to apply it to the real world, the world that I live in, the spirit, the energy. That is the only true current life. That is the only thing that really, really, really is substantial when it comes to it, because this spirit life actually will control the elements around me. And then now, therefore, once I've learned this and I've tapped into the spirit and able to call on my ancestors to actually use their energy to help me, and therefore using that as a forefront, now what I'll be able to do is take this information and grow with it. I'll be able to take it and I'll share it with my ancestors, kin folks, and we'll discuss these things. We'll talk about these things. We'll let each other know what's going on so we can grow internally and let our spirit continue to bring us to better spaces in our minds. So now we're clear and we can manifest what we want in this physical. We're not going to continue to feed into their lies of indoctrination that make us look outside of ourselves. We're going to see that this book shows me that this is me. And it talks about the word, the truth, the light, right? When it comes to that, taking that book and then putting that frequency of our life into a book and taking it out of our mouth and our words, so we didn't have those powerful words to know and speak into existence everything. We didn't know our ancestors that told us, hey, you speak into existence what you want. Whatever you want, you're going to bring it to the light. You speak bad stuff, is going to happen. This, and that. What goes around comes around. It's the karma, baby. This, and that. Y'all, if y'all didn't hear all that from your ancestors and pay attention to that and get what it's telling you, I don't know what else to tell you. So what happened when they took the frequency of our life, what happened, we were removed and we were placing all of our energy into that book, into that Bible, on the word spells of confusion. Spells. Let me look at my chat. Yes, everything we do in nature. That's right, bro. That's right. You know my chat already know what it is. That's why they here. They know the good vibe. They know the good vibes. I love it. Yes. Y'all give me very good energy. Y'all really do. You encourage me to continue to show you whatever comes to my mind and whatever I need to be doing. Okay, so let's finish this out. Once you think God is a noun, please read this once again. Once you think that God is a noun, a person, place, or thing, you separate yourself from it and you immediately become a limited being. Don't limit yourself. Make sure you're stepping outside the boundaries. That's what separates the believers, the religious, from the knowers, the spiritual. I create what I speak. This is it. This is spewing. Do you see this? This is what I call spewing from the mouth. This, do you see? She's spewing the atoms of frequency. She is the frequency she wants. Look at it. It's a perfect frequency. See, a sequence of what she wants it to be, creating, therefore making that existence come into what she wants in her life. The universe does not speak. The universe doesn't speak. It speaks a frequency. There's not a voice. It's not a person. The universe is not a physical being. As I said, it's not outside of you. The universe does not speak. It speaks frequency. You manifest the energy you put out. You, pardon me, you manifest, y'all know these sinuses. It was storming out last night. I'm gonna have a tea. I'm gonna have to probably take a break and make me some more tea in a minute, guys, but we'll definitely get to this. Hold on. The universe does not speak the English, okay? It speaks the frequency basically, and you manifest that energy, and you put it out. You raise vibration by the changes in your life, the things you do to improve yourself. When you're putting more light energy into yourself, you're obviously going to diminish some of those things that are negative, dark, and not profound for your life. You're going to increase the light. The light grows, the darkness goes away. We are a spiritual being. And mind you, when the darkness goes away, there's sometimes still a little shadow. There's a shadow of doubt. You hear that shadow of doubt? We are spiritual beings, vibration, energy, and light that is manifested into the physical form. We just went over that. The energy from the dad that actually helped to fertilize that seed. The seed from the mom is the energy. So those two things coming into light, that's the Big Bang Theory. The light coming into the word, the manifestation of energy. So now those two energies are growing in the soil of that particular ionic womb and fertilized by the waters of life, the amniotic fluids, and bringing perfect energy, right? The spirit molecule, DMT. DMT, I've talked to you guys before, I believe, about DMT. That happened to your ex-boyfriend. Dang, sis. Wow. DMT. Yes. It's like, yes, hit it. Yes, yes. I woke up on one. Then Dee Dee came through this morning, which I'm gonna say what she had a revelation about when I do this breakdown for y'all. But I'm gonna hold that one because it was a good one. So yeah, when it comes to that, the spirit molecule, we're gonna talk about that real quick before we get into a couple of the next slides. You guys know that when you know what, I'm gonna have to play y'all something because listen, what's going on right now with your girl is. Whew, I'm drained. If y'all don't know, I hate keep telling my business, but I be wanting people to know. I have I had an incident. So now I've had a reconstruction in my nose, and a reconstruction in my nose. There's plastic. So when I have issues with my sinuses, it starts to start bothering me. So I have to get things to clear it up. But give me just a moment. I'm gonna play you guys something real quick. While I go make me something great. I think I'm gonna drink something cool. Actually, I'm still gonna put some mullein leaf in it. Hold on a second, guys. What we gonna play? I want to play some info. Y'all want to hear info or a song real quick so I can hurry up? What y'all want to hear? Because we could do both. Let's see. Yeah, let's play a song real quick so we can get right back to it. Unless I found something short I want to play real quick. Sometimes I have little short clips. What's plasma? Oh, here's a good one. Plasma, the properties of matter. This is a quick one.
Matter called plasma. For this change of state to occur, very strong heat must be applied. When heat is sufficiently strong, the electrons are stripped from their respective atoms, creating free electrons and positive ions. Although there are both negative and positive particles, plasma is neutral overall, as there are equal amounts of oppositely charged particles. Since free electrons are present, substances in plasma form can conduct electricity. This is what separates a gas from plasma. All gases cannot conduct electricity, but plasma can. Naturally occurring plasma include lightning and the northern lights. If we were to go far beyond planet Earth, stars also exist in plasma form. In fact, stars are really just hot balls of plasma. Plasma can be found in fluorescent light bulbs and neon signs. When an electrical current is passed through the mercury vapor in fluorescent light bulbs, it heats up the gases sufficiently to strip the electrons and to create plasma. Plasma screen TVs are made possible due to this state of matter. A plasma screen is made of many thousands of tiny dots called pixels, which are made of 3 fluorescent light electrodes emitting the colors red, green, and blue. The combination of these colors can give any possible color, which is why we can see all colors on these screens. The higher the number of pixels, the higher the definition, and the images will appear sharper and more detailed.
All right, guys. All right. So, you guys always hear me talk about that plasma in our blood. And you heard this lady explain to you guys that what happens with the plasma, as I always tell you guys, she said literally the same thing. I didn't actually hear everything she said, so I hope she didn't say something stupid when I didn't hear. But I did hear her say how the plasma heats up, so on and so forth. So I tell you guys all the time how the plasma, when it heats up, right, it actually heats up the crystals and makes that gas formulate in your area of the pineal gland. So then this gives you that protection within your cells because it is purified, and you get that aura of protection. Your what do they call it? The torus field, so on and so forth, as they call it. So yeah, give me 1 second. Oh, excuse me, guys. Let me take a drink real quick. Actually, this one is about. This is only a minute or two, so I'm actually going to play this one as well. Check this out. A minute or two.
Hi, I'm Emerald Robinson, and in this What Is video, we're going to investigate the state of matter called plasma. Plasma is the state of matter that consists of a mass of free electrons and positively charged particles called cations mixed together. Plasma has neither a specific shape nor a consistent volume. In other words, plasma can easily flow into and take the shape of a container and will expand, redistributing itself to evenly fill that container. Although the properties of plasma are similar to those of gases, plasma and gases are not the same thing. In plasma, electrons are
Plasma heats up the crystals in the mind and the lungs to create gas.
Because these charged particles are loose, plasma easily conducts electricity and both produces and responds to magnetic fields. Plasma is created when a gas is either exposed to a high temperature or when high voltage electricity is passed through it. The heat or electricity.
And as you guys know, we've talked about this with the melanin because we are a star being. The ether, I say melanin because I'm so used to saying that because people get confused. I just use it for a reference. I mean, people love to get caught up in words when they don't have anything else to focus on to make that the discussion to learn anything from. It's just like so stupid. But when it comes to the melanin, when it comes to the ether in itself, right? When it's charged, it actually, gives that heat to the plasma, which is what happens. So the process is that the melanin or the ether in your skin, right? Once it is charged, and you know that the copper that we have in our body, we maintain copper. The copper is what carries the electronic charge, right? So once the ether is heated, and the heat can come from a few different things. The most important would be the sun. That's the best heat to energize it because it gives it more of a crystallizing state. It would be the sun. You can also learn information. Sometimes light coding will open up binary frequencies in your DNA, and that will ignite or heat up the cells to give the molecules that voltage. Each of those ether molecules, they will maintain approximately 15 voltages of energy per cell. So each each cell voltage is about 15 charges. That charge actually heats up the plasma that is within or contained in the blood. That's the light pure energy that we talk about. So when the light pure energy starts to oscillate within the body, it sends that voltage of energy through the blood, which heats it up. It starts to oscillate. It goes up through the mind, therefore enlightening the pineal gland, the place of the mind where you see self because of the enlightening process. This process, as I've been showing you guys for the past this past week, is where the inspiration of the Tirthankara comes from. This is the process where they, if you have not seen those prior videos, you definitely need to watch them. The breakdown and the explanation of these ancient practices shows that they actually perform the deeds that the video we talked about last night with that pastor, the savior that they had over there in the Congos. The savior aspect was the same thing with the 24 Tirthankaras. They all saw God in themselves and passed over. They died and came back to life. These stories are nothing new. These are things that our people have done when knowing themselves. They passed that. They bypassed everything in the physical and they dwell and live in spirit in the physical area, using and manifesting and manipulating this ether of the physical world for their advantage and using it to guide and pull others, bring others into the knowledge and the knowing of self so that they can also transfer over and cross over, crisscross the cross, that waiting of the ford that we talked about yesterday, the waiting that allows you to cross over the shallow waters and proceed into the spiritual mind state. There may be a lot for some people to take in, so I'm not going to even play the rest of that. We know about this ether. I just wanted to let you guys get a mind state of that. Let me see. Sophia Stewart said, what you say, bro? Sophia Stewart was live yesterday about the new Matrix. I missed it. She was live where? Oh, man, I got to hit her up about it. See what she was saying about that. Or send me the video, Willie, if you know whose platform she was on. I want to see it before I talk with her. I want to kind of check that out. I know she let them know that it's a hoax. That you know it don't say the Matrix. We know that. Remember Black Jesus. Everybody knows someone named Black Jesus, Jesus, right? These words change meaning by way of the subconscious symbolization. Black Messiah, Nagas to gods. Ugh, he hates that. He don't like that. Okay. So on and forth, so on and so forth. Okay, let's keep moving, guys. Let's keep moving. What else it said? Do you sell what? Yeah, sis. I told you I got the mother leaf. Let me show you. I buy everything, guys. Look, let me show y'all. This is pure organic mother leaf, and I only buy organic products. This a big look. This thing big as me almost. This a huge one, right? You see how huge it is? This is a smaller bag of the black seeds. This is all black seeds. See how big this thing is? Yeah, I pretty much every herb I be talking about, y'all. Oh, my camera went. What happened? Oh, the thing went off. I hit the wrong thing. Pretty much everything I sell, guys, I could sell in bulk as well. I usually try to sell no more than like a pound or sometimes a half a pound, depending on how much I have of a product. But yeah, everything, burdock root. I mean, like certain things you can only get it purchased by the ounce, depending on how much I paid for it. Like I got some stuff I paid like almost $100 for, so obviously I'm not gonna sell like half of it for $20 or some stupid shit like that. But yeah, all right, let's see. We're gonna get back to our pictures because I was gonna read some stuff, but I think I'm gonna wait till I do this study. I'm not gonna keep this too long because I know a few other people may be going live. This says magic work. Spirit is unlike the other four elements. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get my sage. burning something right now. Spirit is unlike the other four elements in that since it is part of everything, remember, God is everything, spirit is everything. It does not have any specific ritual or magical correspondence, at least in most traditions. One exception is color. It may be represented by the color white, as white is comprised of all colors combined, right? Did you guys know that? White is comprised of all colors, all light. Pure light is everything, all colors, full spectrum, right? Spirit does not have an associated gender. It doesn't have an associated gender type. So how could God, how could a spirit that is all source energy be a he, God, he, a name? How could it? That's a person, place, or a thing, right? That's putting it in the aspect of the noun, right? The spirit does not have an associated gender, energy, or type, season, or cardinal direction. It's just any and everything. It is what it is. It is. It is associated with the entire wheel of the year and all magical tools. The Bible is a magic book, whether people believe it or not. It is a magic book. This particular information here, guys, was from a spirit book, ancestors book. I'm going to read a little bit of that. The Great Spirit, in the English translation of the name of the Creator, God, in many. So our ancestors called God, as they say, the Great Spirit. There, it was nothing but spirit. We know what spirit is. We just went over that in verb, form, edge, so on and so forth. We're not going to go backwards, right? But real quick, just to recall. So a Native American history, or our history, everything is switched into Native American. Anything that is a Native American history, most of their traditions come from us either way, versus the ones they've changed to take out some of our normal traditions out. They generally use a lot of our traditions. Just know that as well. Particularly the owl. Oh, wait a minute. I can't read this. It's kind of small, even though it looks different on here. The Algonquin and the Saxon tribes, the Saxonian tribes, since the Algonquin tribes were the first Native Americans cultures. So they're talking about us. They encountered in English, they spoke of the Great Spirit because of, in common terms, were referring to the. Hold on, let me go back again. I wish I could see this better. Let's see. Okay. Uh-oh. The Great Spirit, because of the term referring to Native Americans, I say God, and they use God in translation and in Christian text into the Native American language. Indeed, many Native American people considered that and the Christian God to be one in the same. So they considered that Christian God that they came preaching and talking to them about the same thing as the Great Spirit. So they say, "Oh, you're talking about God. We call that the Great Spirit." Basically, is what they're saying. And this says some of the Native American names for the Great Spirit. These are some of the names. If you ever hear some of these names, Above Old Man, which is which is an Indian Great Spirit, Apataki, which is the Blackfoot Great Spirit, Kadioya, which is God, and the Caddo Great Spirit, Chibadan, which is a Arapahoe Great Spirit, the Jill Nipwa, which is a Abuaki Great Spirit, the Geechee Mado, which is a I know I'm saying this wrong, Oyuibi tribe, Ha Wen Nain, which is the Huron Indian Great Spirit, the Kalkwa, which is the Macamik Indian Great Spirit, the Cotton Tawat, which is the Lepani Indian Great Spirit, the Maui, which is the Cheyenne Indian Great Spirit, the Orinda, which is the Iroquois Indian Great Spirit, the Sky Chief, which is the Carib Indian Great Spirit, the Spider of Heaven, which is that World Wide Web, right? We talk about this all the time. Listen, don't it all coincide? Yes, which is the Great Venture Great Spirit, the Tariwa Atlas, which is the Pawnee the Pawnee Indian Great Spirit, the Yatak Career Great Spirit. So they had a great spirit in all of these places. Let me check the chat real quick. Come back to this page, guys, because I was over here reading from a different page because it looks a little. Oh, this one is. I can stay over here now for a minute. All right. So it's safe to. Hold on, brother. Exactly, bro. That's why we can help birth a different race unto the nation. And everything that's touched by us, it becomes a part of that. The realm is a living eyeball. I heard that, bro. Say that. Peace. Wow. We're gonna read this. Biden pick on black and white genetics. This is Biden. 5 melanin endowed blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities. This is what Biden said. You know how we just heard how that guy said he didn't even know why he said what he said. The spirit will speak through these people and make them say stuff, take over their ass, possess them because they lying and put them right out their misery with some truth. You know that, right? That's what happens a lot of time. So number 5 was that melanin endows blacks with greater mental. We know what blacks is. That's us. With greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities. All this is true. I've done a whole Esther on melanin ether, all of that. Something which cannot be measured based on the Eurocentric standards. They can't even measure it. They don't know nothing about our superpowers, only that there's so much of them. Want to make a garbage pail of their bodies in regards spirituality is something separate from their health. Okay, this is not true for health. Okay, that was something I put in there for something else. Okay, there's a war on frequency. Alpha is the frequency range. We talk about this. Oh, I love to talk about the frequency. You guys know that, right? Because we all operate off that. This is everything that brings us to either a lower vibration, a middle ground, or a high vibration. And keeping in mind, guys, we're talking about, oh, people always vibe high. Shit, hold on, sis. I don't need to vibe high all the time. I need to keep a middle ground sometimes. Keep that in mind, guys. Don't always think you have to be on a high vibe all the time. Like what? You don't want to be low, of course, but shit, you don't have to be on a high vibe all the time. You could be mellow, you could be chill, you could be in a relaxed state, you can be in a meditative state that just has you on a whole plane of just mellowness. So you're at a vibration that you need to be. Do not let people give you a conception of like you got to be high vibing all the damn time because that's a damn lie. You do not have. Yes, brother, you already know they can't stop that. They can't stop that. No negative energies coming to me. And look, I be sitting there feeling like it's some daggers. It's just like, here goes some daggers. You know how they standing there like, oh, the magician, he will not hit her. He throw the knife. Bam, he went right to the top of her head. He go all around her with the knife. That's how I be feeling like, you can't stop that. Can't stop that. I love putting my knowledge out. Anything that comes to me, my spirit tells me to share with my people. It's like, this is our information. I'm talking about the information that needs to be talked about. I wish somebody would come up here. Let me see. I'm going to put the link out there. Y'all be so scared to get up here. I know y'all don't be used to getting up here a lot of my chat, but it's cool. Y'all can get up here sometime to discuss. I be wanting to hear y'all insight, how y'all feel about what I'm saying, because I'm just talking. But if you want to come up, feel free to. You can even just jump up for a minute, ask a question, or tell me what you feel about what I'm saying, or anything that I heard rings a bell or sounds true or made you think about a particular insight. Shoot, give me an idea, give me a conclusion, give me something come to your mind about the stuff that I'm talking about that will, help me grow in a better area. That's what I look for a lot of times. I love to learn. I'm a master student. I love to pick up on positive information, growth, grow myself. And I definitely like to make sure that I'm growing from the right people. You can't just take information from people. Oh, that sounds good what they're saying. Yeah, it may sound good, but maybe it's not for me. Everybody's frequency is not the same. So you got to just make sure to guard who you're around and the things that you're doing. So when it comes to this, right? War on frequency, there's a total war on frequency. There's a war against the spirit. There's a war against anything that is going in a positive state, right? So the war of the frequency, the alpha is the frequency that ranges from 8 hertz to 12 hertz, right? It is the characteristic of a relaxed, alert state of consciousness. And it is present by the age of 2 years old, believe it or not. So a child is very conscious by the age of 2. The alpha rhythms are best detected with the eyes closed, keeping your eyes closed. The alpha the alpha actually initiates with the drowsiness and the open eyes and is best seen over the occipital visual cortex. An alpha-like normal variant called the mu is sometimes seen over the motor cortex, which is the central scalp. And then it is an antenuous, which is the continuous with movement, or rather with the intention to move. This is the physical, it's up high up here, and then there's the emotional down here and the physical down here. Now, when we talked about the Tirthankara, it went over all this too, and it showed us all that. It was talking about the man that had the shape like the hourglass. Remember, we were talking about it was high, out broad at the top, coming in the middle, and then broad at the bottom. The same exact thing as the Tirthankara. All this stuff, all this stuff plays into the same types of things. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Thanks for waiting for me, guys. So basically, if you guys can read that, it says that as spiritual beings, we possess unlimited abilities within us. We talk about this all the time. The spiritual aspect and the powers that we have, and the connection to what we're able to use them with, and being able to use and harness energy in a way to transform, manifest, and so on and so forth. Everything we keep talking about, right? I'm gonna keep talking about this stuff, right? Um, and this is but little or less due that we utilize them to our own advantage, of course, because we are deeply distracted by the modern matrix system, that we no longer look inward to tap into our innate powers and abilities. No one particularly is born without a unique quality. No one. There is no one that is born. When they come into this world, there's a purpose of this person. As we talk about many times, it's blocked from the time the initiation of that Big Bang has started. But no one is born without a unique quality. So I try to love everyone. You have to think of that when you look at a person, even when they're in their worst state, when they're being nasty, rude, you have to try and look at them and say that no one is born without a unique quality. There's something about their uniqueness that you may not mesh with, but that's okay. We don't have to accept every and anything about a person, and they don't have to accept any and everything about us. We can just accept them as the person that they are and move on. You don't have to accept them or bring that power or energy into your world or your life, but you choosing to use that energy in manifesting something good, possibly staying positive in the presence of that person, or leaving to allow them to dwindle and manifest that, possibly harness that energy themselves and turn into a positive thing would be good. These are the things that we should do, right? Some indigo star seeds have telekinetic abilities. I have these myself. We talk about this all the time. When the person has abilities, you're able to have discernment. You're able to tap into people, actually see their aura for what it is. You can read them. There's certain information that is transpired to you over their ether that they transmit, their actions, the way that they look, anything that they spit out their mouth, whether they intend it to be a lie or not. You will be able to discern the truth out of a lie, because why? The molecules will hit you, and your positive nature actually formulates the truth out of the lies, so that you're able to discern that kinetic ability that has been within you that initiates true light. It can discern light and it can discard darkness. Keep that in mind. While some have these psychokinetic abilities, and many have more. I also have psychokinetic abilities. We've gotten into that reading, so on and so forth. There's a clairaudience. Clairaudience is an ability to hear outside the human audible range. Clairaudience is the ability to live to hear outside of the human audible range. It could be a channeling when someone receives messages from the higher spiritual being, angels, or spirit guides, higher selves and souls, maybe even from God. Also talking to nature, spirits, fairies, gnomes, and pixies, and others. Listening, and something's going on. Hold on a second, guys.
You may have learned about the 3 states of matter, solid, liquid, and a gas in a previous lesson. Did you know that there is a 4th state of matter, plasma? In this lesson, we will learn about plasma. Let's start by thinking about ice. When ice is sufficiently heated, it melts to form water. It has therefore undergone a change of state, from a solid to a liquid. Recall that in a solid, all of the particles are closely packed in a fixed position, and therefore has a fixed shape and volume. The particles in a liquid are still touching one another and are able to move around each other. Therefore, a liquid still has a fixed volume, but it takes the shape of their container. What is the change of state that occurs when water is heated to 100 degrees Celsius? Pause, think, and continue when ready. The answer is water evaporates from a liquid to a gas. In our case, water vapor.
Yeah, please do. I'm coming.
The particles in a gas are further away from one another and take the shape and volume of their container. For certain substances, if we continue to apply heat to their gaseous form, another change of state could occur. These substances can go from a gas to a state of matter called plasma. For this change of state to occur, very strong heat must be applied. When heat is sufficiently strong, the electrons are stripped from their respective atoms, creating free electrons and positive ions. Although there are both negative and positive particles, plasma is neutral overall, as there are equal amounts of oppositely charged particles. Since free electrons are present, substances in plasma form can conduct electricity. This is what separates a gas from plasma. All gases cannot conduct electricity, but plasma can. Naturally occurring plasma include lightning and the northern lights. If we were to go far beyond planet Earth, stars also exist in plasma form. In fact, stars are really just hot balls of plasma. Plasma can be found in fluorescent light bulbs and neon signs. When an electrical current is passed through the mercury vapor in fluorescent light bulbs, it heats up the gases sufficiently to strip the electrons and to create plasma. Plasma screen TVs are made possible due to this state of matter. A plasma screen is made of many thousands of tiny dots called pixels, which are made of 3 fluorescent light electrodes emitting the colors red, green, and blue. The combination of these colors can give any possible color, which is why we can see all colors on these screens. The higher the number of pixels, the higher the definition, and the images will appear sharper and more detailed.
She just wait. Can they just come on? Can they come?
Almost 8 years ago, when this channel was fresh and before I had gray hairs in my beard, in fact, before I had a beard, I made a video showing that if you take a grape and cut it almost completely in half and put it in the microwave.
I'll be right back, guys. I got an emergency with a neighbor. Hold on.
Oh, those are the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's still going.
But the explanation we had in that video was lacking. This was me and my friend Dr. Stephen Bosey, a fellow physicist. So you should look forward to that on another episode of Veritasium. To be honest, nobody really knew how this effect worked. That is, until now. As of the publication of this video, 3 scientists have published an explanation in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. They studied this effect with high-speed cameras, thermal cameras, electromagnetic modeling, and they came up with an explanation that I think is pretty satisfying, and it extends way beyond just microwave grape plasma. So naturally, I called up these scientists.
Yeah, I actually saw your video before, like your videos before joining the grape project.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was like already kind of like interested before joining the project.
The scientists showed you don't even need to use a grape. You can get the same effect with hydrogel water beads. These are those tiny polymer beads which, when you soak in water, they increase in volume like 100 times. To understand how microwaving a grape gives you plasma, we first need to know a few things. Like a typical household microwave uses a frequency of electromagnetic radiation at about 2.45 gigahertz. That means that the wavelength of microwaves inside the oven is about 12 centimeters long. Now, if you've ever studied electromagnetic radiation, you might have the intuition that interesting things start to happen when the object or obstacle is around the same size as the wavelength, which a grape certainly is not. It's not 12 centimeters. But the important quantity is how big is the wavelength inside the object, inside the grape. 12 centimeters in air, but the index of refraction of grape material must be close to like 1.33 or something, right?
Like, so at visible wavelengths, it is a lot lower, but in the microwave regime, the index of refraction is like almost 10. So you have a much higher index of refraction.
So microwaves are traveling, like 10 times slower through the grape than they are through air.
Yes.
And that means that the wavelength is 1/10 its size through air. So instead of 12 centimeters, it's about 1.2 centimeters. Right about the size of a grape. Now, if you take a single grape and place it inside the microwave, don't cut it in half, what you find is that the microwaves actually become trapped inside the grape. And that's because of its high refractive index and its size.
Because it turns out that when you have like a ball where approximately the diameter is roughly the same wavelength of the microwave in the material, actually turns out that it can be trapped in there. So it interacts, it bounces at the borders of the ball, and it can't get out.
Is it like total internal reflection?
Yes, pretty much.
Wow, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. So the microwaves become trapped inside the grape, and they actually form these resonant modes. You can think of them as standing waves, just ways in which the electromagnetic fields like to oscillate inside a grape, such that the maximum electromagnetic field is actually in the center of the grape.
When you put it in the microwave, you see that it heats up not from the outside in, as you would expect, if it were just absorbing the microwaves, but rather from the inside out.
If you add a second grape to the microwave, you see that the same thing happens. The microwaves get trapped in the second grape too, and the amplitude is highest in the very center of the grape, and so the heating occurs most of all there. But if you move these two grapes close together, so they're closer than, say, a wavelength, well, then you can start to get interactions between the electromagnetic fields in the one grape and in the other. And in fact, if you get the grapes touching, then the greatest electromagnetic field actually occurs at that contact point between the two grapes. And so that is where you're going to get the greatest oscillating electromagnetic fields, and that is where those grapes are going to get hottest. It's also interesting that you don't need to cut the grapes in half. Two grapes placed side by side will make this effect work, as long as they stay in contact.
So that's why in a lot of the videos you see there's a watch glass. So the reason the watch glass is there is to keep the grapes together.
Now, with the very strong electromagnetic fields at the intersection of the two grapes, what you can get is some sparks, some breakdown of air. That is, the electric fields are strong enough that they ionize the air, creating those sparks, and that is what leads to the plasma. It creates these ions, which can then receive more energy from the microwaves. You can see it here pulsing at 120 hertz. That's twice the 60 hertz frequency of mains power, which reflects the fact that the amplitude of the microwaves is pulsing twice every cycle. And what is that plasma made of? Well, the scientists looked at the spectrum of the plasma from a grape, and they found that there's a strong potassium emission line and also a sodium emission line. So it seems like those ions must be pretty common in the grape, and when the plasma gets formed, it's those ions which are sprayed up into the air, and that is what we're seeing.
Whoa! Who needs drugs?
Now, the size of the grapes is important, which is something I, of course, suspected because you don't see this happening with too many other squishy fruits. But you don't have to get them the exact right size. And this is because water absorbs microwaves. So the scientists did some modeling of this, and if you had a material inside the grape that did not absorb microwaves, then what you would see is at certain particular sizes, you get extreme amplification of the electromagnetic fields. It's basically one size that you'd have to hit to get the amplification. But made of an absorbent material like water, this broadens out the peaks. So you get less amplification of the field, but over a broader range of sizes. This is why a lot of grapes will work, even if the sizes vary. So in terms of like applications of this research, what do you think? I mean, obviously, people like me are excited because this is a fun trick. But beyond that, what do you think in terms of like applications of this?
The main limit in fabricating microchips right now and going smaller and smaller is the lithography. So how to make these very small features.
This phenomenon shows that two spheres of the right size and refractive index can focus electromagnetic energy down to a tiny spot in between them. In this case, down to around 1 millimeter from radiation with a 12 centimeter wavelength. If similar focusing could be achieved with light, it would provide a significant improvement over current lithography techniques.
So if we could somehow harness this to do this lithography, to be able to maybe write things very small, you could actually use light to make really small features. You could do like 2 nanometers mark spot with about 2 nanometers resolution.
It would help continue this like Moore's law.
Yes, it would help continue Moore's law, like putting small things in a single chip.
Very interesting, right? So, as we see, guys, we hear a lot of different things that can make us, kind of confused as to what is actually real, what's the truth, what's reality, what's this, what's that, because we get caught up in the physicality. So we got to make sure we are staying away from the physical aspect of these things so that we are not trapped in the falsities of our mind, because the mind state is a very, very powerful tool. And it's very easily manipulated upon us. So it's been almost 2 hours, guys. I don't like to keep it too long. I did want to get a little bit more into the Tirthankara, but we definitely will have to do a part 3 on that. I'll do something on itself and I'll implement some of the information. I literally have 2 booklets. Like, let me show y'all. I be having books everywhere. It's like so crazy. But I have like 2 booklets right now, right? That I had in front of me. This one. There's like, I always got information on top of information on top of information. I like literally this one. I had information in here. I had it open to this page. This is just some of the stuff, the notes I wanted to go over with y'all. I like keep so much stuff that I want to talk about that is crazy. So what I'm going to do, guys, is make sure that I am taking time to handle this in the right way and keeping in the right perspective. So I'm going to keep these pages right here, these 2 pages. When I do go into talking about the Tirthankara again for that part 3, I will have these out and we will go over that information as well because it is very pertinent. All right, guys, thanks so much for coming through. Peace, love, blessings, everything. I am out with good